So let's go over to the Amazon protests. I'm wearing my yellow vest today. This is the second day of the Amazon protests, and here's some footage from it. Let's check this out.
Justice! Now! Justice! Now!
They're making it look like it is a standard value of Americans. And we say to corporate greed, it will not stand today, it will not stand tomorrow, and it will not stand in the future.
Obviously on Prime Day, people are talking about Amazon and the deals they can find. But this is also a good chance for people to think a little bit about how those.
So that's a software engineer who's participating in the strike, by the way.
Packages arrive and who's involved. And it's really a moment where I think the key decision makers within Amazon have a responsibility to understand what their policies mean for real working people.
We hope to Amazon they change and we get less work and reliable job and not like working robots and work like a human being.
We're out here because we really want to get management's attention. We have really high productivity rates that lead to problems like quality and repetitive stress injuries and cause a lot of stress for workers. And then the safety in the building needs to improve as well. There needs to be an investment in ergonomics because of the repetitive nature of the work, workers get hurt quite often.
So there you have it. They're calling for basic things that they should have. They're calling for basic conditions, basic human conditions, safety in the workplace, and they're calling for better wages, and they're calling for improved conditions. That was the strike right there. And guys, Amazon responded to this and they said, we are ready to meet all of your demands. We hear you. You are a human being, and we care about you very much. Just kidding. Amazon responding with a really shitty, condescending thing here. Check it out. Defiant Amazon says only 15 workers went on strike during Prime Day and shares video of warehouse employees celebrating this shopping frenzy. Okay. All right. So here's a picture, and we saw that video. Amazon said just 15 of its employees took part in a planned strike outside of one of its warehouses in Minnesota. It was obvious to the 1,500 full-time workforce that an outside organization used Prime Day to raise its own visibility, conjured misinformation and a few associate voices to work in their favor, and relied on political rhetoric to fuel media attention, an Amazon spokeswoman said. As some employees protested, Amazon posted a video of warehouse workers celebrating Prime Day. Okay, what does it say? What does it say about an employer when that is the statement you were? Let's go over the statement again a little slower, shall we? Okay. It was obvious to the 1,500 full-time workforce that an outside organization, no. These are employees of your company. These are employees of your company. Okay. Used Prime Day to raise its own visibility. You mean to demand living wages and better rights? Conjured misinformation. So their experience isn't real, and a few associate voices to work in their favor and relied on political rhetoric to fuel media attention, an Amazon spokeswoman said. With how hard they make striking is very difficult in the United States, and it's that way by design. Okay, it's by design. The fact that a high-level company like Amazon, the fact that employees were able to conjure up any strike at all is saying an awful lot, and every single person that showed up there knew what they were risking. They all knew that they're risking their livelihoods and their jobs, because that's how it works in other countries. It's a lot easier to strike, and when you strike, you get what you want. It happens a lot more often that way in other countries. Here, striking is made difficult by design. They show you videos on why you shouldn't do it. I mean, Walmart has a whole propaganda campaign about why you shouldn't strike, why you shouldn't unionize. That's by design here in the United States. So everyone that showed up, they knew what they were risking, and yet people showed up anyway. Amazon is trying to marginalize that. They're trying to trivialize it, and they're saying that they're conjuring up misinformation. So their experiences, saying that workplace injuries happen, saying that they demand better wages, saying that they are overworked, saying that conditions are not up to par. They're saying that this is misinformation. Their experience as a warehouse worker is, quote, misinformation. Well, why don't you go work in that warehouse then? Did this spokeswoman have any experience? How can you tell somebody their experience on the job is misinformation? You see how horrible that is to say about your own employees, to accuse them of using this to boost their own profile. What profile are they trying to boost? They're just trying to get a living wage. They're trying to get a living wage. That's what they're doing. They're trying to boost their own visibility. And they're saying this is all about attention. That's what Amazon's saying. And they're saying that it's misinformation. What they're experiencing in the warehouse, that's misinformation. This was from some spokesperson for the company who I'd imagine does not work in the warehouse. Has no idea what that's like. And it's just calling it misinformation. Has no business calling it misinformation anyway. So that's Amazon's response to the strike. That's what they say about their employees. They trivialize them. They marginalize them. Oh, there was just some of you. There were only 15 of you. Instead of saying, hey, these employees are not happy. And I wonder if that's shared by other employees too, who just were too scared to show up or were too worried to show up. Or were worried that if they did show up, they would just face mockery and scrutiny. Because I have a feeling that there's more disgruntled employees than showed up. I had a feeling some were just too worried to show up. Were just too scared of getting fired, so they didn't show up. And that's Amazon's response. If you demand better working conditions, if you demand a living wage, if you demand to be treated like a human and not a robot, you're an opportunist seeking media attention, and all those experiences you talk about, that's misinformation. That's how they treat their employees. That's how they treat their employees. And seeing how Amazon treats their employees, it's a good thing Jeff Bezos has a newspaper. It's a good thing he's in bed with the Pentagon. It's a good thing he has Whole Foods. It's a good thing soon he's going to invest in water, and then he will become emperor. And he seems like a noble guy. What a horrible thing to say about your own employees. What a horrible, horrible thing. And this is what happens when neoliberalism's out of control. Some of the biggest employers in the country can get away with stuff like that. And it's a shame.
Get your news on with Ron. Don't you want to know what's going on? We're getting our news on today. Get your news on with Ron. Don't you want to know what's going on? We're getting our news on today. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You can tweet me an article at Ron Placone. We'll go through it together and